Two teenage boys are behind bars after allegedly raping a female acquaintance inside a drugstore. The incident occurred at 3:07 p.m. on the 11th of January 2026 at the Walgreens located at 713 East Ogden Avenue in Naperville, Illinois. Authorities said the girl entered the restroom alone when 17-year-old James Patterson and an unnamed 15-year-old suspect followed her inside. James allegedly pinned the girl against a store wall and pulled her pants down while the 15-year-old boy stood nearby. The victim told James to stop and managed to escape the store before he allegedly grabbed her again. James began punching the victim until she fell to the ground, then sexually assaulted her, while the 15-year-old allegedly filmed the incident. The 15-year-old then allegedly sexually assaulted her as well. After the attack, the teens fled the store on foot, and the victim notified store employees. Both boys were located shortly afterward, and James was found carrying the victim's cell phone. Investigators also recovered the recording made by the 15-year-old on his device. James is being charged as an adult with 4 counts of aggravated criminal assault and 1 count of robbery. The 15-year-old has been charged as a juvenile with 3 counts of aggravated criminal sexual assault, 4 counts related to child sexual abuse material, and 1 count of criminal sexual assault. Both teens remain in custody. James is scheduled to appear in court on the 2nd of February, and the 15-year-old is scheduled to appear on the 27th of January. 23-year-old Tierra Ann Scott Franklin is accused of intentionally drowning her 7-month-old daughter. At 12:47 p.m. on the 14th of January 2026, authorities responded to the Sweetwater Square Apartments at 3501 Northeast 15th Street in Gainesville, Florida, after Tierra called 911 to report that she had drowned a child. She told dispatchers that her daughter was unresponsive, with a white substance coming from her nose and mouth. Tierra said she attempted chest compressions, but stopped after seeing the substance. When officers arrived, they found the infant unresponsive in the bathtub. She was transported to a local hospital and pronounced dead at 1:29 p.m. According to investigators, Tierra admitted to placing the child on her back in a bathtub half filled with water. She said the infant's face was submerged, and she left the bathroom and closed the door. Tierra told officers she expected the child to go. She returned about 5 minutes later and removed the child from the tub. Investigators noted that Tierra was already dealing with other legal issues and feared she might lose custody of her daughter. She reportedly told officers, "If I can't have my baby, no one can," and also stated, "I'm sorry, but I don't regret it." She allegedly admitted to researching suffocation 2 weeks before the drowning and told police she had been diagnosed with multiple mental illnesses and hears voices. Tierra was taken into custody at the scene and charged with first-degree premeditated murder. She remains held in the Alachua County Jail without bond and is under supervision while in custody. Records show she was previously arrested in August 2025 on charges of battery on a person 65 years or older and violation of probation. A man is behind bars accused of fatally shooting his wife. At around 11:50 a.m. on Monday the 12th of January 2026, police responded to a residence in the 100 block of County Road 724 in Enterprise, Alabama on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, they found 85-year-old Charlotte Wolf unresponsive inside the home with multiple gunshot wounds. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Detectives conducted a brief on-scene investigation and arrested 90-year-old Otto Wolf on a murder charge. Authorities confirmed that the victim and suspect were married. Otto was transported to the Coffee County Jail, where he remains held without bond. Officials said no additional information has been released at this time, and the investigation is ongoing. A woman has been arrested and charged in connection with a fatal New Year's Eve shooting in Louisville, Kentucky. On the 13th of January 2026, the Louisville Metro Police Department arrested 38-year-old Shoshanha Jones and charged her with murder, first-degree robbery, and possession of a handgun as a prohibited person with prior felony convictions. The shooting occurred at around 10:35 p.m. on the 31st of December 2025 in the parking lot of the McDonald's on East Market Street. When officers arrived, they found a woman who had been shot in the chest. She died at the scene. According to the arrest citation, the victim, her friend and a child had arrived at the restaurant. The victim's child got out of the vehicle and in the process hit Shoshanha's vehicle. Shoshanha proceeded to yell at the child and the victim, then pulled out a handgun. When the victim tried to intervene, police say Shoshanha shot her. During the incident, the victim's friend was trying to record it on her phone. Shoshanha then pointed the gun at the friend, took the phone and left the scene. Police were able to identify Shoshanha as the suspect after they found her ID on the ground near a shell casing. She's been held on a $500,000 bond. She's set to be arraigned on the 14th of January. 19-year-old Jaz'Men Bristow has been charged in the death of a 22-month-old son. In the early morning hours of the 16th of December 2025, deputies responded to Medical University Hospital in Orangeburg, South Carolina, on a report of a deceased child, identified as Kymere Johnson Bristow. According to authorities, the incident occurred at Jaz'Men's boyfriend's home on nearby Jamison Avenue. She reportedly told deputies that she and her boyfriend were lying in bed while her son was resting on her chest. She said she heard a strange noise from the toddler, woke her boyfriend and checked on him, only to find her son unresponsive. She said she gave the toddler some water because he appeared to have a weak pulse, then rushed him to the emergency room. Once there, she was questioned by medical staff and informed of her child's death. An autopsy later found blunt force trauma to the abdomen, including a lacerated liver and several internal bruises. Investigators reported that about 320 mils of blood had pooled in the child's abdomen due to the liver laceration. On Thursday, the 15th of January, Jaz'Men was arrested and charged with homicide by child abuse. If convicted, she faces a potential sentence of 20 years to life in prison. Orangeburg County Sheriff Leroy Ravenel called the case among the worst kinds of cases of all, saying a defenseless child should be forever given protection by his mother. 2 arrests have been made after a teen was fatally shot inside a car. According to police, the shooting happened shortly before 2:30 a.m. on Sunday the 11th of January 2026, when officers were called to the parking lot of Lowe's Home Improvement at 100 Lowe's Drive in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, on a report that a girl had been shot in the chest. When officers arrived, they found 21-year-old Bryan Harbison performing CPR on 15-year-old Katen Atwell. Another 15-year-old girl was also at the scene. Katen was taken to the Baptist Health Hardin, where she was pronounced dead. Elizabethtown Police Public Affairs Officer Chris Denham described the situation as terribly tragic, noting that multiple lives had been devastated. He added that when officers notified Katen's family, they believed she was asleep in her bed. Investigators say Bryan told officers he met both teens through Snapchat and believed Katen was 18 years old. He admitted to purchasing alcohol before picking them up, and the three went to the Lowe's parking lot to drink. Bryan said he was in the back seat of his truck with Katen, while the other teen sat in the driver's seat. According to police, the teen suspect later admitted during an interview that she found a handgun inside the vehicle, pointed it at Katen, and pulled the trigger. Investigators say Bryan and the teen suspect gave conflicting accounts on how she accessed the firearm. The suspect claimed Bryan placed the gun on the center console and told her it was unloaded. Bryan told officers the gun had been secured in the glove compartment and was taken without his knowledge. The teen suspect was taken into custody and charged with murder. Due to her age, her name has not been released. Bryan was charged with third-degree unlawful transaction with a minor and third-degree wanton endangerment. The investigation into the matter continues. 19-year-old Valerie Rae Mann of Jamestown, North Dakota is facing a felony charge after police say she had sexual contact with a 14-year-old boy. At 11:48 p.m. on Tuesday the 13th of January 2026, police were called after a mother reported catching Valerie with her 14-year-old son. The woman told officers her 17-year-old son had come home from work and found Valerie and the 14-year-old in a bedroom. The 14-year-old admitted to police that he and Valerie were having sex when they were caught. Valerie admitted to police she had unprotected sex with the teen in the bedroom and estimated the encounter lasted for about 5 minutes before they were discovered. She told officers the interaction began in the living room and then moved to a bedroom, and that both she and the teen were willing participants. The 14-year-old reportedly told police he and Valerie had sex on about 6 occasions since the 1st of January. Valerie denied having any other sexual encounters with him. Court documents indicate Valerie had been living with the family since around July 2025. The family had previously been her foster parents when she was younger. Valerie was arrested and charged with gross sexual imposition. She made her initial court appearance on the 14th of January, and a preliminary hearing is scheduled for the 4th of February. A man is behind bars accused of bludgeoning his wife to death with a hammer. At 11:22 p.m. on the 7th of January 2026, police responded to a home in the 3500 block of South Juniper Avenue in Springfield, Missouri after a report of a domestic assault. When officers arrived, they found 47-year-old Suzette Flores deceased inside the residence. According to investigators, the 911 call came from Suzette's young son. He told dispatchers that his father was attacking his mother. He said he was standing near the garage and was frightened, adding that he could hear banging sounds and that Suzette had suddenly gone quiet. While officers were on the way, he remained on the line and said the violence had been happening for a long time and that he was tired of it. A neighbour told police he heard a woman screaming "Please stop" from inside the home and then saw a man in the garage striking something on the ground. As officers processed the scene, they located evidence consistent with blunt force trauma to Suzette's head. A hammer was recovered near her body, and police noted that the end of it was visibly stained. During the investigation, officers identified 34-year-old Felipe Ayala III as the suspect. Felipe was found inside the home with blood on him. He was arrested and booked into the Greene County Jail on a charge of first-degree murder and armed criminal action. He remains held without bond as he awaits his next court date. According to the arrest affidavit, Felipe had been waving a knife around earlier in the evening, and before the assault began, he allegedly told Suzette she was making him do it. He also reportedly threatened the children. Authorities noted that Felipe has a prior criminal history involving property damage, drug offences, assault and domestic assault. Friends and family of Suzette described her as a loving, energetic and strong-minded woman who cared deeply for her family and wanted a better life for herself and her 3 boys. 47-year-old Ellen Maxwell, a physical education teacher at Decaturville Elementary School in Tennessee, has been arrested and charged with raping a child. Deputies took him into custody at his home in Parsons on the 9th of January 2026. According to court records, the abuse began in January 2021 and continued until November 2022. Investigators say additional victims have since come forward. Ellen was immediately placed on administrative leave and banned from all Decatur County school campuses, as well as from any contact with staff or students. His bond has been set at $250,000. The investigation remains ongoing, and authorities are urging anyone with information to come forward. A former treasurer of the South Haven High School Band Boosters in Mississippi, 47-year-old Krystina Thompson, pleaded guilty on the 8th of January 2026 to stealing $39,161.94 from the non-profit organisation. The theft occurred over a 9-month period between June 2024 and March 2025. Booster leaders first noticed the problem when a vendor for a chocolate bar fundraiser reported an outstanding balance despite strong sales. An internal review revealed troubling indicators of fraud, prompting the South Haven Police Department to open a criminal investigation. According to investigators, the treasurer diverted the funds for personal use rather than supporting band students and school activities. The organisation worked closely with school administrators, school resource officers, and police to document the losses and move the case forward. The former treasurer's sentencing is scheduled for the 16th of March. The court has also delayed formal sentencing to give her a final opportunity to repay the stolen amount. She faces up to 20 years in prison. 42-year-old Zachary Goans of Independence, Missouri is behind bars after a girl reported years of sexual abuse. A probable cause statement from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office says the victim arrived at the facility in July 2025 and reported that Zachary raped her in June 2024. Investigators confirmed that the victim is a minor relative of Zachary and said the abuse began roughly 3 years earlier. According to the statement, Zachary forced her to watch pornographic videos while he inappropriately touched himself, and the behavior escalated over time. During a forensic interview at the Child Protective Center in Kansas City, the victim described additional incidents. She reported that Zachary forced her to ingest marijuana and burned her with hot candle wax. Investigators also noted that a witness told them Zachary admitted to touching the victim sexually. Multiple attempts to interview him were unsuccessful as he repeatedly avoided law enforcement. On Saturday the 10th of January 2026, Zachary was arrested and charged with rape, sodomy, incest and domestic assault. He's been held on a $100,000 bond for the new charges. He also faces a $3,000 cash-only bond for failing to appear in a separate domestic assault case. If convicted, Zachary could face life in prison. A court appearance has not yet been set, and no further information has been released. A man is facing several charges involving child sex crimes. On Thursday the 8th of January 2026, investigators located Bryan Rodriguez, a youth leader and teaching assistant from Luling, Texas in Las Vegas, Nevada. He was detained and extradited back to Texas. Once returned to Caldwell County, Bryan was formally charged with aggravated sexual assault of a child, continuous sexual assault of a child under 14, and display of pornographic material to a child. The first two charges are felonies, while the third is a Class A misdemeanor. Officials say limited details have been released at this stage due to the ongoing investigation. No additional information about the circumstances or individuals involved has been made public. Bryan remains in custody as the case continues to develop. An 11-year-old Pennsylvania boy is accused of shooting and killing his father after his Nintendo Switch game was taken away. Clayton Dietz, who now faces a criminal homicide charge, is alleged to have fired a single gunshot to his father's head at just after 3 a.m. on Tuesday the 13th of January 2026, inside the family's duplex on the corner of South Market and Elm Streets in Duncannon. 42-year-old Douglas Dietz was found unresponsive in his bedroom with a gunshot wound to the head and was declared dead at the scene. According to court documents, Douglas's wife Jill told police she had been asleep when a loud noise woke her. She reported smelling something similar to fireworks and tried to nudge Douglas, but he didn't move. She then heard what she thought was water dripping. When she turned on the light, she realized it was blood. Moments later, Clayton entered the room and shouted, "Daddy's dead." When troopers arrived, they reported hearing him tell his mother, "I killed Daddy." Investigators say the couple had gone to bed shortly after midnight after singing happy birthday to Clayton, who had just turned 11. Clayton told police he had a good day with his parents, but became angry and refused to go to bed, and his father took the Nintendo Switch game away as a consequence for his behaviour. Earlier that night, Douglas had locked the game in a safe. The affidavit states that Clayton searched for the key to his father's safe, found it in a drawer, and while looking for the game instead came across his father's revolver. During questioning, he admitted removing the gun from the safe, loading bullets into it, walking over to his father's side of the bed, pulling back the hammer and firing. When asked what he thought would happen, he said he was mad and had not thought about it. Investigators noted it remains unclear whether Clayton knew the gun was stored in the safe or intentionally sought it out. Clayton was adopted in 2018, and according to online records, his parents had repeatedly sought help as his behaviour became increasingly antisocial and aggressive, including incidents of harassment, theft and physical aggression. Despite their concerns, they were told he did not meet the criteria for specialised behavioural placement. A family friend said Clayton had autism and that his behaviour escalated further in 2025. Multiple requests to transfer him to a behavioural education centre were reportedly denied by the Susquehanna School District. Clayton's been held at the Perry County Jail without bond and is scheduled for a preliminary hearing on the 22nd of January. A man is behind bars accused of assaulting and fatally shooting his girlfriend inside a mobile home. Just after midnight on Friday the 16th of January 2026, deputies responded to multiple 911 calls reporting an attack at a residence in the 700 block of West Parker Road in Greenville, South Carolina. When they arrived, they found an unresponsive woman inside with severe traumatic injuries, including at least one gunshot wound. The Greenville County Coroner's Office pronounced her dead at the scene at 12:48 a.m. She was identified as 23-year-old Trycina Nichole Whitehurst. Officials confirmed that Trycina died from a gunshot wound. Investigators say the violence stemmed from a domestic situation between Trycina and her boyfriend, 33-year-old Devortae Durham. Deputies believe an argument between the two escalated, and Devortae fled the scene before they arrived. Later that evening, authorities located Devortae about 4 miles away at the Quality Inn and Suites at 10 Mills Avenue. He was arrested without incident and charged with murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. He was booked into the Greenville County Jail, where he remains held with bond denied. 36-year-old Travis Wood will spend the rest of his life behind bars for murdering his wife, 32-year-old Shawnda Wood, inside their Wardorf, Maryland home. On Thursday, the 8th of January 2026, Judge Hayward James West sentenced Travis to life in prison, plus 15 years for first-degree murder and use of a firearm during the commission of a violent crime. The case began on Friday, the 9th of December 2022, when Travis walked into the Charles County Sheriff's Office just after 1 p.m., requested a welfare check at his home, and immediately asked for a lawyer. Deputies went to the residence in the 2300 block of Tawny Drive, entered through the front unlocked door, and found Shawnda shot once in the back of the head as she slept. His DNA was on the firearm recovered beside her. An investigation revealed that on the night before the shooting, Travis, Shawnda and their 3 daughters went out to eat and shop before returning home to put the children to bed. Travis and Shawnda later went to a lounge, had drinks and returned home at around 2 a.m. After arriving home, Travis urinated on the floor outside the bathroom. Shawnda confronted him and told him he needed to move out by the weekend. She then went to bed. Prosecutors said Travis later retrieved his handgun and shot her while she slept. At around 8:30 a.m., Travis woke their 3 daughters ages 11, 9 and 8 and told them they were going to their grandmother's house and instructed them not to disturb their mother. After dropping them off, he returned to the home. Ring camera footage later showed Travis going in and out of the house, smoking and scrolling on his phone. He did not call 911. He eventually admitted the killing to his mother before going to police. During sentencing, prosecutors described the lasting impact on the children. Judge West called the murder the coldest of blood, noting the permanent damage to both families. When Travis addressed the courtroom, he said he was beyond apologetic, claiming drugs, alcohol and bad decisions had led him into an unknown downward spiral. He also claimed the shooting was accidental, saying the gun discharged while he was cleaning it.